This is the OUPES Mega 2 Portable Power Station 2500W, and I've spent several weeks putting it to the test, both at home and on a couple of weekend camping trips. I know the name itself sounds pretty technical, but what you're basically looking at here is a compact, heavy-duty, battery-powered generator. The kind of thing you'd turn to when you need backup power during an outage, or if you want to run pretty much anything off-grid, like if you're camping, working in a garage, or even dealing with a power emergency. I'll walk you through what it really feels like using it, my own questions before buying, and what you can actually expect if you're thinking about picking one up. First off, how does it look and feel? This thing's built solid. The design is pretty sleek, black plastic, feels pretty durable, but not fancy. It has two sturdy handles on the sides because, no joke, at about 48 pounds, you're gonna need both hands to move it. I remember being a little surprised by the weight when I first picked it up. It's not feather light, but honestly, for over 2,000 watt-hours of capacity and all the features packed in, that's pretty standard. It feels like something meant to live in your RV, garage, or backup shelf, rather than something you toss in a backpack for a quick hike. The key features that caught my eye and really set this apart are the 2500-watt inverter and the battery itself. This means you can run big items like power tools, blenders, and even a fridge at home during an outage, or power most of your camp setup. The peak wattage hits 5,400 watts, which is a huge help if you're using stuff that has a high startup draw, like a saw or refrigerator. The capacity, 2,048 watts, basically translates to being able to charge laptops and phones for days, keep lights on, or even run high-draw tools for several hours. One thing I liked right away is how they designed the display and controls. The LCD screen is bright, simple, and gives you exactly what you need. Exact battery percentage, output and input wattage, and what ports are active. I found that helpful, especially compared to some older models that just use generic LED lights without details. The OUPES has separate sections for USB/USB-C, DC, and AC ports. Just push the button for the section you want to use. A newbie can get started with this in minutes, honestly. And since you're probably wondering, yes, it has pretty much every port most people need. 4 standard outlets, a big 38 port for heavy-duty or RV use, USB-A, USB-C, a 12-volt car socket, and 2 barrel ports. You won't run out of options. Charging it is straightforward too. There are options for plugging it into a wall, AC, your car, or hooking up solar panels. From my experience, AC charging is really fast, about an hour and a half to 2 hours to go from empty to full. That's honestly impressive for a unit this size, and the included cables mean you're ready to go right out of the box. One thing I was curious and skeptical about before buying was the expandability. They mention you can hook up more battery modules and push the total storage up to 10.24 kilowatt hours. That's a big selling point if you're thinking long-term backup or heavier off-grid use, like keeping your setup running for days during an outage. I didn't buy the extra battery add-on since they're kind of pricey, but I like having the option down the road. If you're just wanting something for short trips or backup, 2 kilowatt hours goes a long way. Now, a couple personal observations about actual usage. Using the AC side to power something big, like a miter saw, I did notice a slight delay after pressing the AC on button. There's a faint click, then about a 10-second wait until the outlets come on. At first, I thought something wasn't working, but turns out it's just a safety feature. Once it's on, though, the power output is solid. I ran a small blender and power tools with no issues, and the display updates in real time so you always know what's going on. With lighter devices, like USB charging for headphones or phones, it runs practically silent. With heavy loads or when charging, the internal fans kick on, but they stay pretty quiet. Not annoying at all, even in a tent. When it comes to solar charging, it accepts up to 2100 watt if you have a big enough array. That's very handy if you plan to camp off-grid for extended periods. I haven't fully tested the solar aspect yet, but it's good to know it's possible to combine AC and solar and hit speeds up to 3700 watt for input, which is crazy fast for charging one of these. My only complaint here is that if you're using solar, there's a bit of a learning curve, making sure your panels are compatible, voltages fit in range, and making all the right cable connections. If you're brand new to solar, I suggest reading the manual closely and maybe watching a few videos to avoid confusion with MEC4 connectors and Anderson plugs. There's also an app control option, which in theory should let you monitor and operate the power station remotely from your phone. This was something I found pretty underwhelming. While the app sounds convenient, especially if you want smart home integration, it just didn't work for me. I spent longer than I care to admit trying to pair it on both Android and iOS and just never got it to function right. If smart app features are a priority for you, that could be a real annoyance, and I really hope OUPES pushes some updates. Personally, I'm fine with using the built-in display since everything important is right there. There are a couple of things I hoped would be better. I'd like to have seen a built-in light, especially since power stations usually get pulled out when the lights go off. Also, the OUPES Mega 2 is power-hungry when idle. If you leave it on with nothing plugged in, it does use up battery faster than I expected. So, I try to turn it off when I'm not drawing power. That's a small thing but worth being aware of. One last thing is the 30A plug. Even though it's there and feels heavy-duty, the inverter's limits mean you really can't pull the full 30 amps. You're more in light to medium RV territory, not running every appliance all at once. Still good to have, just know its limitations. From my experience, I'd recommend this for anyone who wants a beefy, easy-to-use battery generator without dropping a fortune on the big-name brands. If you want a quick backup at home, or you're planning camping and tailgating where you have bigger power needs, this suits well. I even used it for a couple garage projects, no power cords stretched across the yard, and never ran into any overload or shutdown issues. For emergencies, you could keep your fridge running for quite a few hours, keep your internet going, and charge all your devices.